am now joined on the show by Paul Nelson from World Travel Market. Good afternoon, Paul.
Good afternoon.
Really nice to speak to you. Thank you
You
for
too.
joining me this afternoon. Now, you're here to talk about the fact that us Brits are becoming slightly more exotic in terms of our travel destinations. You've done some surveys that revealed some interesting places that we'd like to go. So tell us all about that.
That's right. So World Travel Market is basically where the whole travel industry comes together to do its deals. So you'll see £2.5 billion worth of deals done at World Travel Market, and we're able to kind of poll and talk to the whole travel industry and see where the travel trends are for the following year. And yeah, we've seen that China, India, Cuba, Mexico and quite a few kind of long haul destinations are going to be the popular destinations for us Brits this year. It's kind of a couple of trends that have moved into that really. The first one is some of the issues that some of the more local countries have had. So kind of Egypt and Tunisia, Turkey are all have been very popular tourism hotspots. But because of Foreign Office advice and because of incidents that have happened in those countries, quite a lot of capacity has had to be moved out of there, and some of that's been moved into the real popular destinations such as Spain and Portugal, but then a lot of it has been moved to some more long haul destinations like China and India, Cuba and Mexico. And then on top of that, the tour operators and the airlines have invested in aircraft that are much more comfortable, can take more people away, and so it's much more cost effective and more comfortable to travel long haul than what it's been for maybe say 5 or 10 years ago.
People are being a little bit more cautious about going to some of these countries where we've seen on the news there's been incidents and there's been some difficulties. They're sort of probably being, many of them being very sensible and not wanting to put themselves into places where they might be at risk or they might not. But they're also the availability of what is, I suppose there's a great deal more choice now, isn't there? There's many, many more destinations coming online, much, much easier to get there. And those countries themselves gearing up to accept those guests. Would you say that's true?
Yeah, very much so. As I say, so at World Travel Market every year we get 186 countries coming. So pretty much every country in the world comes, and they're all there to sign deals with the different tour operators. And yeah, exactly that. They're all battling to get the tour operator to get their aircraft in there and to book up their hotels so they can sell packages to their customers. So yeah, everyone is fighting over the UK tourists, whereas maybe 10-20 years ago it was kind of the more local tourism hotspots that we were all used to going to. But now, yeah, very much so, and because we've been to a lot of the more local destinations, some people still want to go back there, and and as you said, you've got that level of safety and security that people want. But then on the other hand, as more destinations are offered and there's greater capacity to some of the more long haul destinations, yeah, we're snapping them up as well.
Okay, now today is Monday the 16th of January. It's traditionally known as Blue Monday. It's meant to be the most depressing day of the year. So thinking about some nice holiday destinations is always a good thing to do to sort of get us out of that. Where would you, looking at all these more exotic places that have come online, what's the best value, would you say? If we were looking at doing something more exotic, where would we get the best value?
I would say probably the greatest value would be going down to South Africa. So that's due to what's happened with the pound. Obviously, the some of the value for some of the European countries maybe isn't what it was a couple of years ago. But the exchange rate with South Africa is very good at the moment. So you can get brilliant deals going down to South Africa. So that's definitely one that's worth checking out.
Okay, and do you think as a nation, without all the sort of maybe some of the problems in Turkey and Egypt and all the rest of it, are we just generally becoming more adventurous? Have we got bored with going to Spain and eating tapas and going to Greece and eating meze? Are we seeking new experiences?
I'm not too sure if it's that we've got bored. I think it's just more that we travel more often. So you'll find now that people are taking more holidays than they've ever taken. So people could be taking 3 or 4 holidays a year, so that might see a domestic break. Then that might see a holiday to a Spain or a Portugal, somewhere where we tend to go all the time, where we're familiar and we enjoy the fact that that we're familiar with the culture and we're familiar with the scenery. But then also people want that experience of something that they're not used to, and that's where a China, an India, a Cuba or Mexico comes in. So no, I think we're just travelling more and more often.
Okay, and do you think? These. We're obviously talking about mainly summer destinations here, but are people getting more adventurous throughout the year? Are they looking at some of these places for winter breaks, out of season breaks as well?
Yeah, definitely, very much. I mean, South Africa's a great one, obviously, to go to now because is their summer. But yeah, and yeah, China and India aren't necessarily summer destinations. They're ones that people are going to throughout the year, and even Cuba. Really, obviously, it's got great weather, but just to get that authentic Cuban experience, people are looking to do it throughout the year.
Yeah, and it's important, I think, isn't it? I'm sure you would agree with this, that people should do their research not only about maybe the political situation in those countries, but they have seasons, some of which are perhaps not as good to go to. There is health advice, inoculations, all that sort of thing. So, it's really important people do that research, isn't it?
It is, and the best place to go to is to actually go to the Foreign and Commonwealth Office website. That will outline all of the safety, security, and the best season to go, the temperatures, and that type of stuff.
Yeah, okay. Now, if people want to find out a little bit more, Paul, about the research that you've done and they're just interested in getting more information, is there somewhere they can go to look for that?
Yeah, so they go to WTM.com.
Oh, nice and short.
Yeah.
Lovely. Okay, so just WTM.com, and that's got all the survey and it's got information and it's got advice and whatever on there as well.
Yeah, it's got all of the survey information and gives you a backdrop into what World Travel Market does.
Okay, that's fantastic. Well, thank you very much for joining me on the show this morning. And I'm being very boring. I'm going to Greece again this year.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So why not?
Yeah.
So I'm sure people will be getting more adventurous with their holidays. I'm sure I will at some stage. But it's a bit like a comfortable blanket, Greece, for me.
Exactly. Yeah, that's fine.
Really nice to speak to you. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
You too. Thank you very much.
Thank
Have a good
you.
day.
Bye-bye, Paul.
Bye.
Bye. Paul Nelson there, who is from World Travel Market, talking about how us Brits are more adventurous now with our holiday destinations.